Good morning, good morning, good morning, Taya Manuia. You are here on the Morning Shack. No Tim and Riggs today, so you're just here with the Morning Snack, Gabz. I am very excited. We have two very special guests here in the studio. We've got our brother Stan Walker here in the studio, but we've also got a special guest all the way from Sydney, Australia. He is an indigenous, Aboriginal, Gomeroi rapper, musician, storyteller, Kobedee, and he has released a brand new single featuring our very own Stan Walker called Father's Eyes. It's about breaking the cycles that so many indigenous groups have been stuck in and showing the world that there are so many good indigenous fathers, no matter what kind of stereotypes they are given. Boys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are we today?
Good.
You guys both look really tanned.
Oh my gosh. Maybe I'm just hot. The red's coming out of here.
No, thank you so much for coming. So, Kobedee, this is your second time here in Auckland? Yeah? How are you finding it?
Yeah, good. I love it. Like, coming back in, I was like, I think because I was only here, a few months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything's still very, very familiar. It's like coming back to an old neighbourhood or something, you know?
Is it a bit of a culture shock seeing so many Māori and Pasifika people here in Auckland? Because we're the capital.
Not really, because like we've got a big community back in Sydney as well, you know.
True.
So yeah, it's not a big culture shock. It's good. I've always wanted to come here too, so it's like I feel excited just like being here, especially for my second time. It's good.
Now, I heard you, Stan Walker, you were talking some smack about Auckland. So we're going to get into that later on. Yeah. We're going to get into that later on. And so let's talk about your song, Father's Eyes. Please tell us, what is it about? How did it come about? And what is the story behind Father's Eyes?
So for me, it was at a time in my life where I was kind of second guessing and doubting myself as a father and thinking that I should be doing more. There's things that I should be doing more, and I think for me it was really a reminder to myself of where I've come from, and I think in it was kind of a healing process as well, because it was at a point in my life where I was doubting myself and I was feeling a bit down on myself, and that's, I guess, for us as artists where our best stuff comes from, you know, is when we feel something and we put it down on paper and we put it down and then record it. So it's like a healing process. So for me, it was really, as I was writing it, because mostly when I write, I don't exactly know what I'm going to write about. I just write what I'm feeling. And at the time, that's what I was feeling, and it turned into that. And for me, it was kind of a reflection on, like, look where I've come from, and look how far I've come. And, you know, I am a good father. So for me, it was a reminder to myself, but it turned into so much bigger and a reminder to all of us, you know, all of us as Indigenous fathers. Is like, look at the brush that we've been painted with and look at the stereotypes that we've been put in, but look how good we're doing despite any of that. So that's what that song's about. Now,
GQ has called you a voice for your generation, and I would say the same for you, Stan. You're a voice for our Indigenous peoples, for our generation here. How did you become part of Father's Eyes?
Just listening to the song, I was hooked real quick because it's a story that needs to be shared on our behalf, not American, Black American or Latino American, but our behalf, you know, on behalf of Indigenous men on this side of the world, even though we share in similar experiences and some of the same experiences, and even with on the other side, but we're different and we're built from a different cloth, even though it's kind of the same, you know, we connect through our indigenous. But it was the stuff that he was saying, you know, like talking about his father, you know, his father became a father at 16 and he wasn't a father to him. But through him being a father, he started to have empathy towards his dad, because his dad was just learning at 16 years old what to do, and he started to figure that out for himself. And the same thing for me. For me, I've been, one thing that I've been trying to do is just break the cycles of which I've been a part of, you know, through my father, through my grandfather, and I didn't want to be a byproduct of a byproduct anymore. I wanted to cut clean, but unfortunately, you know, growing up in that life and that lifestyle and being a part of that intergenerational trauma, it still lingers within me. And so my whole thing is to be better than, you know, my father. And we're not our father's mistakes, we're not our grandfather's mistakes, we're so much more. And like he said, we've been painted with this brush that we're this and that. And in both our countries, we're the highest stats for everything negative. But people forget what we are at our core and who we are at our core. We're not these men that just grows our kids up and gives them hidings and tells them to shush. That's something that's been put onto us, through colonization. I know that's a big kōrero, but when you look back to the core of who we are, our children were exalted, our children were treasured, our women were the top of the food chain, and our men, we were loving, we were just known as loving men, and that's who we are, and that's what I'm trying to kind of reclaim for myself, for my kids, and I'm learning every day with my kids. And as they grow older, there's different seasons with the kids. Like my son's just started school, my daughter's started ruling the house, but like every year they change, and I have to change with them, and I have to grow with them, and I have to be patient with them, and not be like my son had his first day of touch yesterday. And I went there, and I'm like, because he's the shyest in NZ, and he when he gets shy, he eats his hair.
Opposite to you.
Opposite. And he's like, his hands in his mouth. Like, get your hands out of your mouth. But he stood on the field, and he's just like there, because I told him to go out on the field, but he just stood there. And in my head, because I've always been told, go hard or you're going home. Get in the car or you're going home, and you're going to get it. Because I didn't go hard in something that I wanted to do because I was excited to do it. And I had to hold myself, and I was like, I don't want him to ever not be excited about going to touch. And I was like, for him to walk out on the field, that was a big step for him. Because he only walked out because I told him to walk out. But deep down, he wanted to walk out. But like, that's a big step. And so I have to go at his pace.
Yeah.
So this song is all of that for me. It's like day by day, we're breaking these cycles. We're breaking these things that have been put onto us. And I mean, if it was like who we're supposed to be because of our upbringing, we should be pathetic. We should be really bad fathers. And we've had to overcome that, and also still overcoming it. And so this song is so much more than just a collaboration. It was a kind of an eye-opening thing to like actually who we are, and like in a healing thing, and a reminder that, man, we every single day we're just doing our best. We're not going to get it right all the time. And one thing that he said today is like, what did you say? He said about not getting it right, being all good or something like that.
I said parenting is only hard for good parents. That's something I believe 100%. It's because if you're not a good parent, you got nothing to worry about, and if you're not like involved in your kids, all these things, it's like it's not hard for parents that can just sit back and just not have to worry about that stuff. But for parents that really care, it's hard. Parenting is hard, but that's the beauty of it, and that's the thing that I've learned to accept as a father. It's always going to be hard. That's why I want like 7 kids, 8 kids. My partner doesn't want that many, but like, because I know it's always going to be hard, but like at the end of the day, that's my favorite thing is being a father. Above everything else, my favorite thing is being a father. And yeah, I've got a second one on the way, and it's just like our family's growing, and it's everyday learning. Like Stan was saying, like my daughter's 4 now, and at the stages that I've said, it's like you get to a point where you think you've taught them, and they're going good, and then boom, something else happens, and they're in a new phase in their life, and you've got to adjust to that. And it's fun because it's showing me sides of myself too, and I definitely, I think being a father has shown me patience, tolerance, like all these different things that growing up I didn't have, things that I probably could have learnt from my dad, is things that I've learnt being a father, it's things that my daughter is teaching me. It's like, it's like I said, it's my favorite thing in the world is being a father.
So you both have daughters, girl dads. Good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck. You guys talked about something in your live stream that I watched about how growing up, not having a dad, that was normal in both your cultures, and that was really like humbling for me, because I grew up with my dad thinking, well, everyone's got a mum and dad, and it was humbling coming and meeting my friends who didn't have that. And so what do you hope that Father's Eyes says to those who grew up like you? A lot of our listenership, like I said, Pacific males who grew up without their dads. What do you hope Father's Eyes does for them?
I think just because for me, like I always felt like I think when my daughter was on the way, I had all these fears of like, well, I didn't have a dad. Like, what can I base off being a father of if I didn't have that, And for me, it was really, I didn't want my daughter to feel the way that my father made me feel. So I learned I did everything that I knew that I would have wanted from my father, you know. And I think that's the advice that I'd give, is like, show your kid everything that you didn't have, you know. It's give everything that you would have wanted as a kid, you know. And I think that's the most treasuring thing about being a dad for me, is that so many things that I see in my daughter that I do for my daughter, and I think like, oh, like this is what it would have felt like for me, you know. And it makes me proud that I get to give that to my daughter, especially cultural stuff as well. Is, you know, like I grew up with my mum, and you know, my mum didn't grow up with a lot of culture and stuff, and it was a lot of the stuff. It was really just the community I grew up in. I learned a lot from my community, but that's not where my mob's from. That's not where my people was from. So I was learning like other people's the other mob's language from where I grew up, but always wanted to learn from where I was from, you know, from where my father's country was, but I didn't get that chance. And so now it's like, now that I go back to my country and I do learn my culture and I do learn my language, it's stuff that I can pass on to my daughter and my son on the way too. Like, you know, it makes me proud to know that they don't have to go through that, and they don't have to feel that, I guess like loss of connection that like I felt growing up, and I get to do that for them, and I feel that responsibility now to learn as much as I can to pass that on to them. So yeah, if that's coming back to the question, yeah.
Do you want to add on anything?
It's kind of just the same thing. I'm also trying to my mum and dad have over the years overcompensated for what they didn't give. And in a way it's worse, because they're overcompensating on what they think that I need and want, but never ask me what I want and need and what I also need. And so I'm trying to listen to my kids at the same time I'm, you know, raising them and want to teach them and stuff like that. And my wife is the perfect balance for me, because she's opposite to me. She's the soft, loving, like lets them, you know, where I'm just like law and order, and that's how I roll with things. I've learnt, you know, I'm like, bedtime is 7:30 sharp. That minute goes over, I start ticking, because that's just how I roll. But I'm learning to just not sweat the small stuff, and I've always sweated every little thing, and so I'm trying not to do all the most, and I'm trying to listen to the needs of my kids, and my wife is a good person to listen to that, and I'm a good for her when she's missed it or overcompensated for something. And so we're blessed that we have a awesome team within each other, that we bounce off each other, we learn from each other, because I'm a know-it-all, like, and I think that I know everything. And then honestly something just comes and like just humbles me, and I look at her and I'm like,
it's the Holy Spirit.
Wow. I'm like, Lord, why do you have to shut me down like that? But you know, just it's reclamation for my kids, for myself, for me and my wife, and giving them everything that me and my wife never ever had, but also letting them find their own love and joy for it rather than forcing them. I come from a forcing background, where Lou came from a different. So thank God she's there, otherwise it would be force. You're going to learn this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. But I know with my son, he's just like, he won't do it if he doesn't want to do it, and I don't want to traumatize him. Even though his trauma is way different to mine, it's trauma nonetheless, you know. So I don't want to like force him. So big lesson yesterday. I was like, you didn't do the best today, son, but we're going to do better next week, son. We're going to run, and I want to teach you at the back. Yes, yeah. And I was like, fuck.
I love that. I know all the Islander parents are listening right now like, oh, do I need to do that? Yes, you do.
Yes, and it's hard. It's so hard. Because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what the hell was that? Son, you stood in the middle of the field. You know, in my head, that's because that's how I grew up. But I'm like, son, that wasn't the best, but next week we're going to do better. So that's what we...
Did you hear that, Dad? And so let's get into the video clip. This video clip is beautiful. Like, we watched it before you came in, and can you please talk about, like, so you filmed it on your Aboriginal land, but also you involved your family in it. You got all your uncles. Can you talk a little bit about the making of it?
Yeah, so the land wasn't from where my people's from, but where I grew up, so that's Bidjigal land. But yeah, a lot of respect for Bidjigal people. My partner's Bidjigal, so I was on her country. But sorry, what was the...
Just talk about like the making of it, the day that you had,
Yeah.
and how the clip came to be. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was finding a location was a big thing, you know. I kind of we had locations set out, and I really wanted it to. I wanted it to be somewhere where I felt a big connection to, you know. And it was kind of last minute thing too, because we had a location, and we got approval with the council and all that stuff, and then we showed up the day before, and the council had set up tents and stuff, so we had to quickly change it.
Yeah.
And for me, it was kind of stumbled across. Like, I went to go look at where the cliffs are. That was already set.
Yeah.
I went to go look at that, and I looked over, and I was like, this is like perfect. Like, it was like where you see where we're all eating and where the dances happen and stuff. That's on the way to the cliffs. So I was like, I just walked through, me and my daughter, and she just ran through. I was like, this is perfect.
So are you saying you pretty much came up with the script like while you were looking for location?
Well, no, we
had
had
that in
we
mind.
had
Yeah,
all
yeah.
we had all that down. It was just location.
Yeah.
Like, that was a big stress for me. I was like, all right, we had a perfect spot, and then the day before we literally had to change. So it was like, but it was when I came across this other place, it was just perfect, and it all worked out so good, you know. And so yeah, like that was and that's the area that I grew up in too. So there was like significance down there, and you know, the cliffs where we did the first performance at, you know, like that's a place where, you know, we do a lot of like sunrise ceremony and stuff, like, or we go down and like, you know, you're always seeing whales come through just on those cliffs down there. So it was like, that's a significant place for me as well. So
Also the imagery of the shots of you and your daughter, and you're brushing her hair. Can you talk a little bit about that? Yeah.
brushing her hair.
Yeah. And that were like having those specific shots, you know, in the clip.
Yeah, well, so that was actually, I didn't even know that those specific ones of me brushing her hair was going to be in it. So because Amanaki Productions, who did the production, the film, and Garawa, they were they've done heaps of shots for me. Like, they did my a bit of my documentary like last year on my Gomeroi Nations tour that I did, and those were just kind of bits that they filmed just at my house, at my mum's place. And so yeah, when I seen them, I was kind of like, oh, I haven't even seen them until they sent it to me. You know, so it was mad to see. Like, those were really candid stuff as well. Like, that was just me telling Callie, like, your hair looks ridiculous. You need to come over here. I need to do your hair right now.
It's so powerful though, like, it's because it's such an intimate, when your dad is brushing your daughter's hair, like how beautiful the connection. It just shows the relationship between you and your daughter. So for me, because I'm a girl dad as well, like seeing it was like, like
yeah. No,
powerful.
It's definitely something that, like, I love doing her hair. Like, the day that she says I'll do it, it's like, that's gonna break my heart. You know, like, yeah, it's like, no, I will do your hair until I can't do it anymore. But yeah, I love doing like those little things. You know, those little things, especially like doing her hair. I love making her hair look all pretty and letting her curls out and stuff. You know, it's I love that part.
And for you, Stan, like, did you find and discover a lot of similarities between cultures?
Fully. And the thing is, because I grew up both here and Australia, and so I grew up with a lot of black fellas over there in the different places. And I went to it was the first indigenous, First Nation, Aboriginal Bible college over there. And so there was obviously indigenous, and then the rest of us were Māori, Samoan, Fijian, Greek, and I think one Polish fella. But like, so I grew up, and then I grew up going to missions, and I grew up going to communities and stuff like that. And so I've always known that. And like, even when I first started out, me and Jessica Malboy used to do everything together, tour together, do songs together. But this was different because I never connected, like, for the man that I am today, and for the man that he is today, that we connected on a song like this about being fathers and connecting our cultures in a way that I was actually so shocked, because this was all run by him and his team. He came up with this. He did everything. I didn't do a damn thing. I showed up. I just had to get some people there, and I was like, hey, you fellas better come, because this fella's got heaps of fellas coming. Can't let me down. Yes, yeah. So I brought the whole, I was like, hey, be there, okay?
Get there now.
Because he's got a whole mob coming from every which way. They flying in.
You better pull up.
You better pull up. And like, man, got a whānau that do hani over there. They came and did a kai. They had a kapa that was over there. They came and did a kapa. His dance group came through. All the cousins, the uncles, they all came through. And it was just this beautiful cultural exchange that I don't think anyone was expecting. Like, we had smoking ceremony, then we had a bit of a whakatau. We had somebody speaking, and just even from the production crew, Amanaki Productions, they're whānau. And I was looking at them the whole time. I was like, they look similar, eh? Anyway, they were brothers. And then the sisters were sitting at the tables. They're Cook Island Tongan.
I was just going to say, are they Tongan? Amanaki, yeah.
And so, and like just the whole team that came out and all the people representing there, like all the young fathers that even like, because I told the boys, like me, I'm last minute. Yeah, just come doing a video. You know the bro Kobedee, we're doing the song. Oh, yeah, sweet. I was like, just make sure you're on time. This is the address. Just get here. We got there. And I think all our lives were transformed that day. All our lives were changed that day. Everybody left emotional. Like, honestly, like, you've seen all these big fellas and tough fellas and, you know, come in our own little groups and we're all just kind of sitting there shy and our own group say, shame, you know. Got in a big circle. We all had a kōrero and just, like, it just everybody's heart started to open up and just seeing, like, at the end of the day, we're human beings and we're young men trying to be the best that we can be, you know, dealt with the lives that we've been given. We're trying to do better and we're trying to break cycles, and just bringing our cultures together was just so beautiful. It was so empowering, and just watching and experiencing each other's cultures and each other's families and all the kids running around, you know, doing their own things, and all these daddies, you know, these daddies there with their kids. It was like, and I was gutted because my kids couldn't be there because I'd flown over by myself, but I felt jealous because I know my kids would have loved that. And it was just, it was like going out, you know, there's big family days you go out like to, like, the big fat konais and like everything. It was just, it was an experience that I'll never forget, and like I don't think anybody expected. I don't know about you, bro, but I didn't expect it to really kind of affect me like it was wicked.
And do you think us here in Aotearoa with our people, Māori Pasifika people, that we're ready to take those steps to break those cycles?
We've been ready, and I think and another thing, it's a powerful representation of what we need right now for our men. I mean, for the not the longest time, you know, for a while we've been talking about mental health. This is a part of it. You know, these are we're talking about the individuals that are going through it, but they're still dads at the end of the day. They're still mums at the end of the day. And this is just another step further. Actually, you know, we're all going through our stuff, but we can do it. You know, we've got the help of we don't have to have big communities. And just like letting people know, yeah, man, we stuff up every day. Yeah, we fall short. We fail. You know, like we're going to feel like we're not good enough, and maybe we're not good enough at sometimes, but that's all good. That's all part of parenting. That's all part of growing, but we're not going to go backwards. And you know, there's forever been these narratives of all of us, of indigenous, of Māori, of Pasifika people, that we're everything but amazing, but loving, but caring, but successful, but growing, but breaking generational cycles, but rich, but at the top, but the best of the best. You know, they just look at us like, oh yeah. Like even you think about New FM, like, oh, we're just the, and I was like, it's not just. I was like, how incredible that you are the station that represents not just one marginalised people group, like it's so many people that people can identify to, that they feel connected to. And like even for us to bring this here, and for Kobe to come here as an indigenous person from Australia to come into the realm of so many different indigenous people here from the Pacific, I think it's powerful, and I think we need more of that. We need to be coming together, especially what's happening in the world, all over the world, what's happening in our country, what's happening in Australia, what's happening all over the world. I was like, we need to band together, come together, because we have so many similarities, but we're so powerful when we join together. It's like, you know, like to make Captain Planet, we got to come together to bring all those, you know, heart, fire, earth. I'm not hard though. I never wanted to be hard, eh? I mean, fire. Yeah.
And before we wrap it up, I got to call you out, Stan, because I heard you. Yes, I caught that talking smack about Auckland. To we've got a guest here, Kobedee, and Stan's saying that Auckland's not that great, and so I kind of want to prove him wrong, Kobe. All right, you haven't had a great experience with our cuz over here. So
I'm sorry, guys.
yeah, we heard you. We're gonna add that clip into our clip as well. We've got just on behalf of Auckland, Okilani, and behalf of South Auckland, actually, we've got some.
See. Okay, I said
for you.
Auckland. I don't say South Auckland. I don't say Auckland. I don't say Tamaki Makota. I said Auckland. It's like when people say, "Are you a Kiwi?" I ain't no bird.
You get
I'm Māori.
shush.
Shush.
So I gotta represent. For the 09, I gotta represent. So we've got some. These are from Binakis, the famous Binakis in Otahu. Shout out to Auntie at Binaki. These just for you. Yeah. We've got some Keke Boas as well. Just on behalf of Auckland, South Auckland, on behalf of New FM, we just want to gift you and prove you wrong. These are pork buns and these are lamb buns.
Sick.
You might need to heat them up.
But
Otahu, if you ever need a good feed, it's where all the good island feeds are. I just needed to prove my brother Stan here wrong.
Hey, I just want to say.
It is just for me too. No.
Wait, I started wondering. She said, I was like, I'm hungry. Wait, honest to God, we were talking about it like, because I've been doing hakas, so for the last 8 months, whatever, I was doing hakas. So we have Māori kai all the time. I love being Māori, but I am sick of Māori food. And I've always liked Samoan food better, and I know that people are gonna come for me, but man. I will love. Honestly.
This is for you, Kobe. Sorry.
No, but ain't a share. Tato. But oh man, I've been talking about island food for ages, so I'm like, shush in my mouth.
No, but thank you so much, bro, for coming through. If you have not watched it yet, Father's Eyes, it is out now on YouTube. Kobedee, I'm gonna get you to introduce your song to the Morning Shack and to the whole of Aotearoa. Please let us know.
Yeah, this is Father's Eyes featuring Stan Walker and myself.